What do you think about this run game, though? I like the momentum that we had from last week, maybe going into this week. The problem is, like I mentioned, is just their defensive line and their players.
Yeah.
Like, could just somehow, maybe with Benny Snell, dude, could he be the X factor here?
I mean, I hope, but I don't have a lot of faith in it. And this is the thing, man. Like I said, you talked about it. You seen it on tape. We're trying to convince ourselves that our running game that magically worked a little bit against the Bengals is all of a sudden going to give it to this Colts defense that we know if we were talking about passing, man, we could go there because we know they struggle a little bit on the back end. The injuries, it happens. But the thing they do really well is stop the run, man. That like their front seven is definitely the strength of that defense, man.
There was some comment I saw on one of these games I was watching. They said the only 100-yard rushers they've allowed over the past like 2 years or something like that.
Derrick Henry.
Yeah.
Yes, that's it. Just think about that, bro.
So yeah, outside of that, they're pretty damn good against the run.
So that's why for me, it's like as much as I'm excited about what the running game looked like, and as much as I would want that to happen again, I'm just having my doubts because the reason I'm torn is this too. I'm confident.
Wait, is Dotson back?
So this is the thing. So we're waiting to find out about Dotson. But even last week, they didn't solely. You're looking for your word. It's empty.
It's empty anyway. Never mind. It's just a habit. Empty. I think it's like I'm a little thirsty. I need to go for it. But no, it's empty.
But even last week, they used the mix. It was a combo of J.C. Hassner and Derwin Gray at left guard. And actually, Derwin played really well at left guard, man. He had the big Benny Snell run play. It was actually Derwin, man. He was in there moving dudes out, man. It looked good. I was surprised because obviously he's a tackle by trade.
I was going to say, can he play right tackle? We put him at right tackle. We bring in Dotson.
He was definitely a tackle, but they put him at left guard. He started rotating. I think he had about 16 snaps on the offense. Obviously, JC, I think, was at 40. It was either 38 or 40, like in that range. But yeah, they definitely started rotating those guys, man. And like I said, from the little bit that I saw with Gray in the run game, he did move some people out the way. So I was like, all right. But it was the Bengals. That's my only issue. And it's still not a shot at the Bengals. Trust me. I mean, the Bengals, they won, tip your cap to them. But if you play that game 10 times, we know how the outcome is going to be. So to me, I don't look at that performance by Benny Snell on the offensive line against the Bengals as something that I'm anticipating going forward. I look at that more as an outlier. I think that they will struggle to run the ball against this front. And
what's success for you on the run? 60, 70 yards?
Think about this. Last week was success. We only had 80 yards rushing. Think about it. Yeah. We ended at, we ended at 87 yards and Benny Snell had 83 of them or 84 of them. Yeah. So it wasn't this crazy rushing, but it felt good, right? It felt effective. So to me, effective running. It could be 60 yards. It could be 80 yards. Effective running. Remember when we played Washington, right? We said they ran the ball effectively against us. They only had about 60 yards on the ground. Tops. So it's not this has to be over 100, and I don't think we will get over 100 rushing. But if we can effectively run that ball, and when we talk about effective, I'm talking when it's second and short, third and short, if it's fourth and short, we need that yard that Coach Tomlin always talks about. We're consistently getting those. Goal line, we need to punch it in. We saw it happen last week. That's effective running. If we need to, off tempo, give them a draw run, off tempo, counter run. That's effective running. Just to keep them on schedule.
It was working last week, dude.
So to me, it doesn't have to be crazy, just effective, because effective is going to make them have to play us honest. If they play us honest, we can take advantage of them in the from a passing standpoint. That segment was brought to you by DraftKings Sportsbook, America's top-rated sportsbooking app. Not only is it safe, but it's secure and reliable. But Deke, we do know that unfortunately, fantasy football, or not even fantasy football, but sports booking isn't allowed everywhere. But we do know something that is, and that is fantasy football, since I just said it. And you like fantasy football.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. You get to create your own team.
It's playoff time too for some leagues.
Yeah.
And let me tell you about fantasy. Can I tell you about what DraftKings doing, man?
Sure, go for it.
So they got this fantasy football app, right? Where they're giving out $1 million in prizes every single week. I mean, just think about that.
It changed my life.
Just let that marinate for a second. $1 million in prizes every week. DraftKings is doing something awesome. So make sure you download both of the apps, but more importantly, make sure you use the promo code Moats so you can receive your $1,000 in deposit bonus money and get an opportunity to make a little money.